A brief history of palmistry. The subject of palmistry, or the study of the human hand, is composed of two parts: chirosophy, or the mystical significance of the lines, markings, and developed areas, and chirognomy, or an analysis of the shape and formation of the hand, thumb, and fingers. While the two are closely interwoven, the emphasis was originally on chirosophy, which was closely identified with astrology, as witness the names of the planets as applied to the areas called mounts. The lines, too, were generally interpreted in divinatory terms, as with other psychic sciences. At the same time, formations were noted and used by experts in the art of chirosophy, and their readings became so accurate that scientific surveys were undertaken, resulting in a definitive classification of shapes and their indication. Thus, chirognomy came into vogue. In more recent years, studies of a purely physiological nature have indicated that lines and other features may be affected by retarded development, ill health, and other physical causes, thus further verifying the traditions of chirosophy by the findings of chirognomy. Most interesting of these developments is the fact that character traits can be noted by a preliminary observation of a person's hands, even at a distance, and often at a glance. Unquestionably, the early chirosophists must have recognized those points, and the later chirognomists made special note of them. So in all hand analysis, these factors should be considered. Large hands indicate an ability for detail. Small hands show the reverse because of an impatient trend. Mannerisms are easily observed and very revealing. The graceful, lightly moving hand denotes a person who is popular at social gatherings and at the office. It is a sign of affection and interest in others. Clenched hands are a sign of a dynamic, restless, pushing personality, but one that is usually self-reliant. Extended fingers show extremists who like attention, especially when the little finger is extended while holding a cup or glass. This is also a moody sign. Nervous, gesturing hands are those of quick thinkers, but with an inclination to be over-anxious. Relaxed hands are the token of a practical person who is apt to be interested in almost anything. Hands that hide in pockets or are clasped together as though hiding their palms are an indication of good listeners, but also those who change their opinions too easily. Fingers held close together show good leaders, but often a stingy nature. Fingers held slightly apart denote a trustful, friendly disposition. Fingers held far apart indicate persons who are unconventional, but extravagant. Fingers held so that they curve inward are those of persons who are secretive, but who like things their own way. The rule for reading palms is that the subjective left hand should be examined first. It indicates the natural inclinations and abilities. The right hand is called the objective hand. It shows how far the person may follow the pattern indicated by the subjective hand. With left-handed people, the right hand is the subjective, and the left hand is the objective. The palm itself is divided into 9 sections called mounts. These are areas that indicate the traits of the person. The lines and other markings tell how those traits are used. The fingers and thumbs add or detract depending upon their individual qualities. Lines can and often do change, so does the entire appearance of the hand, just as the face changes. It is interesting to study the hands of babies and children as they grow up. Often new indications will appear to verify the development of certain abilities. Lines can be eradicated temporarily or permanently by shock or illness. Lesson 2, we cover an overview of the methodology of reading a palm. First step, determine the type of hand by the shape of the fingers and palm. It will be one of 5 types: the square, the conical, the spatulate, the pointed, or mixed. Test flexibility and texture. Determine the angle of the thumb. Look for smooth or knotty finger joints. Type the fingernails. Note peculiarities. Check the fingers for length, long for detail, short for impulsiveness. Compare phalanges for irregularities in size and shape. Examine the set of the fingers, whether high, low, or normal. Check the slant of the fingers and the flat or cushioned appearance of each phalange. Check the thumb for the same characteristics as the fingers. Compare the 2 thumbs. Note the differences. Check every area of the palm for development, absence, or overdevelopment. Decide which mounts are important. These determine the natural abilities and emotional background. Note small markings not touching major lines. Evaluate the importance of the fingers directly connected with the developed mount areas. Check the life, head, and heart lines for beginnings, terminations, breaks, phrase, color, and special markings such as a cross or an island. Compare with the time chart to pinpoint the markings. Check for influence lines. Check the fate lines the same way. Look for secondary lines and analyze them carefully, especially for their relation to basic lines. Check all the findings and weigh them cautiously, bearing in mind the difference between the subjective and the objective hand. If a person is right-handed, the left hand is called the subjective hand, representing the natural talents and the characteristics. The right hand is called the objective hand, showing how those talents and qualities have been developed or neglected. Each of these 10 steps will be elaborated in detail in subsequent videos. How to tell time on a palm, in other words, when you see events, how to tell where or when in a person's life these events occurred. Time is computed approximately by dividing the basic lines into segments totaling 90 to 100 years, always starting from the beginning of each line. The lifeline starts the count from the point of beginning, which is between the thumb and forefinger. The head and heart lines follow the same way. The fate lines, Saturn, Apollo, and Mercury, start their time reading from the bottom of the palm to the top.